Being a notary might sound simple. You check IDs, witness signatures, apply your stamp, and you move on. But what happens when a notary crosses the line? When the safeguard against fraud becomes part of the fraud? I'm Desiree Roman Rodriguez. I'm an enrolled agent and a subject matter expert in all things notary in the state of Illinois. Welcome back to the Notary News Channel. This week on the forum, we're looking at 3 real criminal cases involving notaries in Nebraska, Philadelphia, and Florida. These stories show how one wrong decision can lead to criminal charges, public shame, and the loss of everything you've worked so hard for. Just as important, we'll break down to you what you can do to make sure you protect yourself and your commission. Let's take a look. Let's start with the first case that was happening in Nebraska. In 2024, there was a push to legalize medical cannabis, and petitions were circulated to get signatures. And the signature of the circulator needed to be notarized on these petition sheets. So in York County of Nebraska, there was a notary who notarized these sheets and later on ended up being accused of notarizing these sheets and not witnessing the person who was signing the sheets. So he was arrested and charged with 24 counts of official misconduct. Now he denies these charges and says that he is innocent, he did everything properly, and he did it according to Nebraska notary law. He is still fighting this case and had a grand jury trial set up to take place in September. And there is no word about what's going on with that case right now. So the assumption is it's still ongoing. The case clearly hasn't been dismissed. And so he is currently fighting those charges. Now, the takeaway from that is that you always have to make sure that you are covering yourself when you are notarizing signatures for people that come to you. In Illinois, firstly, it is required, it's mandatory for a person to be in front of you and you must witness them sign any document that you notarize. Second, that is why you have your notary journal. And in your notary journal, each time you notarize a document for someone, they should be signing in your journal that you were there, you witness them sign the document, and then they leave their signature indicating, yes, this is true. I did do this, and yes, I did appear before you, and yes, you did notarize that document for me. So for this particular notary, had he been using a notary journal and he had been documenting each time the petition sheets were presented to him and he notarized each of those sheets, had he had the journal that had been signed by the person who appeared before him, he would not be facing these charges at all. So hopefully the court will side with him. But from my understanding regarding this case, it is the first time in Nebraska that charges like this have been levied against a notary who is considered a public official. So we'll see what happens with this case. For the next case, this happened in Philadelphia. So imagine someone comes and knocks on your door and tells you, sorry, but you don't live here anymore. This was the case that happened this past April in Philadelphia, where an almost decade long scheme involving over 20 homes that were stolen through forged deeds. Now, the prosecutors alleged that this notary was the woman behind these thefts because she falsely notarized documents that were forged property transfer documents. And so she was charged with over 31 counts, all different kinds of counts and charges for participating in this scheme. And luckily, the families who were involved in this scheme, they did not lose their homes. But for situations like this, notarizing deeds are always riskier document than most other deeds. And so you always want to make sure you are doing your due diligence and you are checking IDs and making sure the documents that you are notarizing match the signatures, the IDs of the people that appear before you. Because one of the things of the notarizations that were done that the notary did was she was backdating these documents to dates before the true homeowners had passed away. So this is why you can't backdate documents. In Illinois, backdating documents is illegal for you to do. So one of the reasons why backdating isn't allowed is for this very reason, so that documents can't be forged to be dated a date prior to when someone might have passed away and was not able to notarize a signer document or get it notarized at the time that they're supposed to be appearing before you. But for you as a notary to protect yourself, you want to make sure you are not backdating documents. The people are appearing before you, and you are recording their signature again in the notary journal. Having that person appear before you, signing in your journal, providing the identification, that will always make sure you have covered your bases if someone comes to you with this type of document. Now, in Illinois, we have the right to refuse to notarize any document except in case discriminate. But if you don't feel safe, if you were asking questions, if something feels off and you're just not comfortable with notarizing a document that's going to transfer a property from one person to another, you can refuse to sign it. Now, in other states, definitely make sure you are doing your due diligence, ask those questions, make sure that the person is the ones that are appearing before you, and make sure they are signing in your notary journal. Our third case today is going to be regarding a Florida notary, who in this particular instance happens to be a state representative. Now, this state representative was charged with 4 felony counts and indicted on multiple charges because of false notary certification, and some of which included notarizing her own signature. Now, the case was revolved around a school employment document tied to her family's private school. And one of the things that she ended up doing was notarizing a document that was had her signature on it, and notarizing a document that someone else allegedly signed, and that person said no, they never signed it. So the charges ended up eventually being dropped as she participated in some kind of a diversion program. But at the end of the day, the whole scandal played out in a public forum, and her reputation took a serious hit. So the lesson is here is never notarize your own documents, right? Remember, here in Illinois, you're not allowed to notarize, any notary in any state, you're not allowed to notarize your own signature. So you're not supposed to notarize anything in which you may have any financial interest. So if there's going to be something that's going to benefit you in some way, you should not be notarizing that document. So if you want to avoid any kind of conflict or any damage to your reputation for something like that, always defer to someone else. This is why it's especially important to double and triple check that there are no advantages for you signing any documents for a family member. So, what are the big takeaways from today? Well, one, always witness signatures in person, no shortcuts. Treat property transfers with extreme caution because fraudsters love to target real estate. And never notarize your own signature or a document where you may potentially get a benefit. So, as a trainer, I get asked all the time, can I notarize something for my spouse? Or can I notarize something for my employer? Can I notarize for myself? And those answers are most often going to be no. For your employer, you definitely make sure that the documents you are notarizing has nothing to do with you. There was once a situation where I worked, where I gave a training session for a company where there was a trustee who required a document to be notarized, and the notary person that was notarizing the document received their pay raises by the authority of this trustee. And the document was related to salaries. So, in that case, that notary was not able to notarize that document for the trustee, even though the trustee was her boss. So, you always have to make sure that you are double checking the documents that you are notarizing, even if it's for your boss. Now, real life cases show that a notary can go from a trusted professional to a criminal defending the actions that you've taken and then needing to prove your innocence or defending the actions that you took. So your commission is more than just a stamp. It's going to be a symbol of public trust. And so you have to protect that. You have to protect yourself. So at Roman Endeavors Inc., we teach notaries the right way. We have, in-person workshops where you can ask questions and get answers. You should stay informed, stay compliant, and stay trusted. So that's all we have on the forum for this week. Share this video with other notaries and don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can receive notification when the latest videos are posted. Thank you so much and have a great day.